Writers use appositives to clarify meaning and add interest. Let's practice adding appositives to our sentences. Make sure you have your Learn Zillion practice sheet in front of you because you'll need it throughout this lesson. Let's review. An appositive is a noun or noun phrase that renames or describes a noun. We use appositives to clarify meaning or add extra details. An appositive can come at the beginning, middle, or end of a sentence. It is usually right next to the noun it's describing. So let's take a look at a couple of examples. The car, a bright red convertible, is parked in the driveway. In this sentence, a bright red convertible is an appositive that describes car. Notice how the appositive is set off from the rest of the sentence with commas. We always do this with appositives because they are not essential to the meaning of a sentence. In other words, if we took the appositive out, the sentence would still make sense. Here's another example. We went on a vacation with my aunt, a police officer. Here, the appositive is a police officer. Notice how it comes right next to the noun it's describing, aunt, and is separated from the rest of the sentence with a comma. Let's do a quick practice. Underline the appositive in each of these sentences. Press pause while you work and play to continue. Are you ready to check your answer? In sentence A, you should have underlined a live oak because it's explaining what the tree with the spiky leaves is. In sentence B, the appositive was an expert at math. And in sentence C, the appositive was a brand new bike. Again, notice how each appositive is set off from the rest of the sentence with commas, and it is placed right next to the word it modifies. Also notice in these examples how the appositive can appear at the beginning, middle, or end of a sentence. Here's a draft of an informational paragraph I've been working on. As you read, see if you notice any nouns that might need further explanation or that we could describe in more detail. Press pause to read the paragraph and press play to continue. Okay, let's start by looking at my first sentence here. Now remember, we use appositives to clarify meaning and add details. Are there any nouns in this first sentence that our reader might not understand or might need more information about? Pause the video and circle a noun in this sentence that a reader might not understand. Press play when you finish. Now, you might have circled something a little different, but it seems to me that not all of my readers will know exactly what a marathon is. So now I want to ask myself, what extra information could I add to help my reader understand this noun? Well, a marathon is a race in which runners complete 26.2 miles. So I want to place this information, our appositive, right next to the noun it's modifying. I'm going to rewrite this sentence like this. Notice how the appositive comes right after the noun and is set off from the rest of the sentence with commas. Let's move on. Now, there are lots of nouns in my paragraph that we could describe further with an appositive, but I'm going to add another appositive to give more information about the Walt Disney World Marathon. Now, I know that my reader might not need additional information here for understanding, but I want to add an appositive here anyway to add detail and interest to my writing. So again, I want to ask myself, what extra information could I add to help my reader understand this noun? Well, I might add that the Disney Marathon is a popular choice for those new to the distance. Now remember, an appositive needs to come right next to the noun it's modifying. Which of these sentences has the appositive in the correct place? Pause the video and put a check mark next to the sentence that contains an appositive in the correct position. Press play when you finish. You should have checked sentence A because the appositive is right next to the noun that it's modifying. Notice again how the appositive is separated from the rest of the sentence with a comma because it is not essential for the meaning of the sentence. Now let's take a look at our last two sentences. Are there any nouns here that might require further explanation? Well, my reader might not know that much about Lake Tahoe, so this is a good noun to explain with an appositive. What extra information could I add to help my reader understand this noun? Well, I want to explain what Lake Tahoe is, so I might say, a scenic lake tucked into the mountains between Nevada and California. You try rewriting the sentence to include the appositive. Pause the video while you work and press play when you're ready to move on. Your new sentence should look like this. The appositive should be right next to the noun it's modifying, Lake Tahoe, and be separated from the rest of the sentence with a comma. And we're done. With the addition of the appositives, we've both clarified meaning and added interest and detail to our writing. Pause the video and read the revised drafts. Press play when you finish. Now it's your turn to give it a try on your own. Read this draft and revise it using what you've learned in this lesson. Pause the video while you work and press play to continue. Now look at your own writing and add appositives to give more information about nouns or pronouns. Now you know that writers use appositives to clarify meaning and add interest. This will make your writing so much clearer.